Peace, peace, peace. Hope everybody's well. Today is Sunday, October 4th, 2020. Today's topic is, what is your contingency plan as we go deeper into these elections and the COVID era and a time where you see white supremacy, quote unquote, amping up more than ever, right? I'm not here to tell you what your core beliefs should be. Your core beliefs are your core beliefs. But in real time, how is it going to play out is what you have to ask yourself. I'm somebody that I've been trained by some OGs that were really high ranked. And what they gave me, I always carry with me. I don't lead with it, but I always have it with me just in case. So these times that we're going and we see that, according to the media, President Trump has caught the Rona, right? Allegedly. I don't really know. I can't say that he did, he didn't. I see people in his cabinet and staff members are catching it, and it's spreading like wildfire, right? So what does this mean for you as we go into the flu season, right? As this Rona, it seems like it's gonna be here every fall, autumn, it looks like it's gonna spike up, right? Do you have another 3 to 4 years in you to weather the storm? Because this is not going away with just a vaccine that's coming in November. If it does, it does, but I don't foresee it that way. I see that this is something that's going to be going on maybe to like 2024, 2025, right? This pandemic, I call it a plandemic. I don't subscribe that nature cooks up something like this where it just happens like that, Can I prove it? No, but it's just a hunch that I have. Someone who's been following this unseen hand that now people call the deep state since 1992. What is your contingency plan? Do you understand what it's like to be in a civil war? You've probably read about it, like if you're an avid reader like me, but have you ever been in the middle of something like that, mixed with the COVID era that we're in, where you don't know if the food supply is going to run out by the ending of the year, November-ish. You don't know if they're going to shut down the society again like they did in Israel 3 weeks ago, right? Completely because of the upticks of the spread of the quote-unquote Rona. How's your immune system? What kind of underlying health conditions do you have? And what are you doing to treat it, right? I'm not quarantined like most people. I'm outdoors. I'm really out there, and I've been fine throughout it, and I expect to continue to be fine throughout it. Endurance. To be able to endure this man mania down pressure, as Bob Marley called it. This is like his song "Ambush in the Night." He said, "This is ambush in the night. All guns aiming at me. All guns aiming at me." Right? So we see the behavior of melanated people, so-called black people, in the ghettos and the upticks of violence, the upticks of gun violence and just violence in general. We could call it the Willie Lynch. We could say, oh, well, the white man, European Anglo-Saxon made us this way. These are valid points, but it still doesn't take away from the fact that you gotta keep your head on the swivel, right? Then we know that we got the white militias all over the country amping up. The volcano's about to erupt. How do you expect to protect yourself against something like this? What is your contingency plan? Do you have a constituency around you to be able to deal with this type of forward aggression? Because there's a forward aggression that's coming. Can you defend yourself against it? Is your core belief going to stand into place as a substitute in order to deal with this forward aggression, right? Then you have the elections coming up, right? I'm not here to tell you what party to choose, which candidate to go with, right? In my estimation, I haven't seen either party do anything for my people, right? I was just driving with a friend of mine through Queens, and we was driving through there, and we was driving, I think it's Casino Boulevard, Flushing, Queens, and you see the Chinatown out there. And me and my friend are having a discussion about voting. And I told her, I said, nothing wrong with voting, but not the Latin word wish vote. You have to, which one is more important, the wish or lobbying? Because those Asian people out there in Queens and in Manhattan and out here in Brooklyn that have their Chinatown, they don't care who's in office. Republican, Democrat, conservative, they know whoever gets in that office is getting paid because they're going to aggregate or pool their money together, and that politician is going to be bought, right? This is why they have their community where you're not allowed to set up shop there. They practice group economics. Dr. Claude Anderson, my master teacher when it comes to economics, always stated that economics is played as a group sport. If you don't play it as a team sport, you lose by default. You lose by default. My question to you is, did they obtain this economic prowess by just voting for a candidate, or did they vote and then buy a candidate? Or maybe they didn't even vote for the candidate. Maybe they just wait to see who's in office and they just go down there. I know because I work around a lot of Asian people that tell me the secrets underneath the surface, right? Very close friends of mine for more than 20 years. So you don't hear them running out worried about what candidate is in office or going to be in office. You only hear the poor and destitute talking like that. And my question to you is, if the candidate is so important without lobbying, then show me the results. Where's our time? Where's the black people town where we have economic prowess, where we have banks, stores, we control our own produce and food supply. Right now we can be starved in literally 10 days by everybody. We don't control anything that we eat or consume in our body. This is why we have all these underlying conditions, because our diets are very poor. So, can anyone show me where voting by just wishing a candidate in there and the candidate is supposed to take care of you, where's the results of that? I see the results in the Jewish community. I can go to Eastern Parkway and Kingston and Crown, all throughout Crown Heights. I can go to Williamsburg, Brooklyn. I can go to all these places and I see that they practice group economics. And they have law enforcement. Law enforcement is paid off. They block off the streets and they allow them to do whatever they want. Right now, they don't even wear masks. They all around congregating, doing what they do, doing their celebrations. They just had a new year and there's no social distancing going on and no one troubles them, because you can't trouble people who have economic power. So I'm saying to people of hue, so-called black people, this lost tribe here in the wilderness of North America, in the Western Hemisphere, what is your contingency plan? Because it's getting deep. And yes, you can have your core belief, but core belief, I would say it gives you more continuity than anything. It helps you continue while being in a state of lack of opportunity, right? There's no lack of opportunity in the ghetto. Prodigy from Mobb Deep said, this is hell on earth. Who's next are going to be first? The projects is front line. And the enemy is one time. I ain't got to tell you, it's right in front of your eyes. The people that produced our mind made it where we become our worst enemy, right? Our minds are literally produced. When you see other people that look like you on a corner and you don't know them, there's a tense feeling that's always there. If we being honest about this, right? When he said projects, I don't know if they necessarily meant the project building. I look at project as an experiment of genocide, an experiment of destruction, an experiment of destitution. And this passes from generation to generation. If you read the Inter Cathedra from the Vatican in the 1400s, I forgot what year it is, you will see the doctrine that's set up to keep people impoverished, that is of a different denomination or not of that movement that's being created. This is not something that just happened 400 years ago. This is something that has been planned, not just this pandemic. This is a pandemic that goes way back to Philip of Macedonia if you read the history. This is all acquired information. I wasn't there, you wasn't there, but when you read and you go all the way back to like 351 BC, Philip of Macedonia, Alexander the Great coming all the way to Caesar, you see that all the presidents are cousins and are related, right? So I don't mean to veer off on political talk, but this is serious times that we're in. And I'm just asking you, what is your contingency plan? You know what I'm saying? You know, I lead with this first. Yeah, I ran the streets seriously hard at one time, but this is the most important thing. I'm trained to do certain things that, you know, most civilians ain't. I really don't broadcast that, but I'm a martial artist for 12 years. And a lot of you guys know that I do broadcast and I'm always in the gun range, right? Do you know how to clean a firearm? Do you know how to disarm a firearm and put it back together, right? Do you know how to operate a firearm properly? Do you know what to do if you have a misfire? Do you understand the steps to that? Like my son is 18. I've been training him since he was 12. He's been doing this with me, right? And I don't need no one to really help me per se, because I understand the times that we're in. Do you understand the times that you're in? Is your core belief going to substitute and step in when this thing hits the fan? Do you understand what a civil war really entails? Do you? This is a question. This is serious business right now, right? And you got people out here who's not playing with you. And people are caught in their reality tunnels, core beliefs, regardless of who you subscribe to. And like Malcolm said, you know, you had the southern wolf and you had the northern fox. I think as I see with so-called black people, my people, we like to be lied to. You don't like the person who's abrupt. Trump is a very abrupt dude. He's not a politician, which is a fox. He's a wolf. He's a game show host with no filter. He let it fly. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm not a fan of either candidate, but I do like it raw. I'm like ODB, ooh, baby, I like it raw. Let me know. Don't let us fight right now in the lunchroom before we go outside after 3 o'clock and you sucker punch me. I'd rather know now. And I ain't saying that Trump hate me. I don't hate Trump neither. You know, when you study a lot of what's going on, he's just very raw with it. And I think most administrations or the candidate that's up there is not going to be raw like that. But all of the politicians don't care about my people per se. And if so, where's our reparations? That's the big question, right? Is any of the candidates talking about a reparations for black people right now? So-called black people, right? So, and people say, oh, well, you should pull yourself up by your bootstraps. But the Japanese got reparations, the Jews got reparations, right? Where's our reparations at? This is serious political talk, just because we're in the political arena right now. And I ain't mad at the people who got their reparations. I'm just saying, where's mine? Where's ours? You know, we built this country up, the whole infrastructure of the economic prowess that this country has. When they say make America great again, America is rooted in the fabric of racism toward free labor. This is a criminal enterprise that has been established. I love living in America. I just don't like the foolishness that come with it, right? I just want equity, but there is no equity when it comes to power. Power don't care about no equity. It don't care about how you feel. It don't care about your core beliefs, right? So these are just things that we have to think about moving forward. We have to think about these things. What is the contingency plan? What are the next steps? What is your constituency looking like? The people around you, are they like-minded? Are they not like-minded? Because people in other communities, they don't all share the same views, but they do share the same view that we got to box those people out in the paint, like basketball. Keep the body on them, keep them out, keep them away from that rim. Matter of fact, keep them in the nosebleed section with binoculars watching us play the game of economics. Claude Anderson called it powernomics, right? So these are just some things that's been on my mind, and I just had to share that with you guys. Be careful not to get too caught up in personalities and candidates, because candidates don't change your world. You change your world. You are accountable for where you are right now, and you have to play it as a group. If you don't play it as a team or a group, you lose by default. Do you understand that? You lose by default. And for those who will disagree, I will take you through other communities and watch how they operate, right? Watch what they're doing. You're not allowed to set up shop in their community. They practice group economics where that dollar, that currency is floating around for 48 to 72 hours before it leaves the community. Everyone else comes here and sets up shop in our community, right? And we can't say, no, you can't set up here. We can't do that because we don't have no economic power. Do you see them getting gunned down and choked out and things of that nature? You don't see that in other communities because they have economic power and they also have money vested with the law enforcement, with the police department. We do not. So with that being said, it's just something that you have to critical thinking reigns supreme. You got to critically think about this and not be emotional. Saying that you hate DJ Trump on the wheels of steel, I call him. That's why I call it that, because I don't hate nobody. I understand that I'm in a war, and you can't win a war being emotional. This is a war of economics, a war of natural resources and land, airspace, water space, right? Who controls that? That's colonialism at its finest. Who controls that? Controls you and controls your future generation. As people of hue or black people, we can solve our problems in literally under a month, right? Because the people who have businesses set up in your community who weren't doing good in their countries, they come here and they rock stars off of your money, off of your finances, off of your patronizing their store. Do you understand that? I'm just merely posing questions for you to critically think about versus what you've been told. So I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a conservative, but I do understand lobbying, I do understand buying politicians because they're for sale, not voting just as a wish, which is the root of the Latin word, but actually pooling your resources together and buying. The problem with our people, melanated people, is that most of us don't really get along with each other. And this is the elephant in the room that we do not want to speak about. Oh, don't be speaking about that. What you trying to say? I'm saying the obvious. It's right in front of your eyes. Hell on earth. Who's next are going to be first? The projects is frontline and the enemy is one time. I ain't got to tell you, yo, it's right in front of your eyes. You see what I'm saying? So with all that being said, I'm going to close on that. It's just some stuff for you to think about. These next 6, 7 to 8 weeks are going to be the roughest time of your life, probably historically. What is your contingency plan? So I'll end on that note. Let your last endeavor be your best endeavor. I repeat, let your last endeavor be your best endeavor. Salute.